So we met in middle school. We went on a mission trip where Matt played guitar and I sang, and we really connected there. We officially started dating almost 21 years ago.
We got married pretty young. We've both changed, but we've grown together. We have 4 kids. Noah, who's 10, Maybe, who is 6, Bear, who is 4, and Caleb, who is 2. And we have one that is on the way. I went to college in a small town in Kansas. I studied physics, and then I graduated there, and I went to Notre Dame to continue studying physics. And then eventually I couldn't study physics anymore, so I got a job as an assistant professor at St. Mary's College. And this was a tenure track job, so I felt like I know what I'm doing now for the rest of my career. I will be teaching physics at St. Mary's College, and that was exciting. You know, we're digging in at church. We're involved in core classes. Annie's doing Inspired Moms. But in the background, there's always this feeling of like when the pastor would say something about being all in, or are you on this path? It never felt like I was. I was looking at the path, but it felt like I don't know what all in looks like for me. It came time to submit my tenure packet. You work as a professor for a certain number of years. You apply to get tenure, and then if you get tenure, it's basically a guarantee of employment for the rest of your career. I felt really good about it. You know, I talked to my colleagues about it and felt like I checked the boxes I needed to check. So I'm driving home the day that I submitted my tenure packet, and I remember praying, if this isn't what you have for me, I don't want it. It was a turning point for me.
I always thought, how are you going to teach introduction physics for the rest of your life? I always knew that there had to have been like a restlessness with that. And I think that was the first time that he had acknowledged it to me, that maybe there's something else.
And on Valentine's Day of the following semester, I got the letter, and I had not been granted tenure. That weekend, we came to church, and all these things are still rolling around in my brain. And during the last song, I heard very clearly God said, "You're not going back." And so I said, okay. He also planted this idea that I was leaving something good for something great.
I mean, it was obvious that God was pulling us to something more meaningful that would involve both of us. As he was finishing out his last year at St. Mary's, we had, in the process, been going through a life plan and just trying to figure out what God was communicating to us for what was next. I had met with a person that we had been put in touch with following our life plan. And after that meeting, I had come home and felt pretty clear that this was his next job.
So going from this prospect of a forever job, like here you will always know what you're doing, this will always be your office, to like you don't know what you're going to be doing in a year or 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. When I hear the sermons now of like, are you all in? I feel like I can more honestly say, yes, I'm on that path. Is it perfect? No, absolutely not. Do you have it all together? It's messy. But God's not calling me to be perfect. He's calling me to obey. It's a little uncertain, but I do feel God's peace, and I wouldn't change it. I would rather be part of God's story than asking him to be a part of mine.